My stepdaughter laughed. You act like you matter in this family. So I stopped acting and started removing my money, my efforts, my presence, my name. They noticed I mattered only after I was gone. That's what she said. My stepdaughter, Ellie, 16, smirking like cruelty was currency and she was rich. She said it with a laugh. Not loud, not angry, just light enough to float into the air and lodge in the back of my throat like smoke. We were in the kitchen. She was scrolling her phone. Leaning against the counter, I refinished with my own hands. The backsplash behind her, I installed that too, tile by tile. Her words echoed off it like they had a place there. You act like you matter in this family. I didn't say anything back. Didn't trust myself to. I just stared at her for a moment, not blinking. Then I turned, walked upstairs, and sat down at my desk. I opened the browser and canceled the San Diego trip I'd spent 6 weeks organizing. Non-refundable, of course. I'd paid the deposit months ago with overtime from a project I hated, but took on anyway. For them. Next, I froze the family credit card. The one they used for Uber Eats, Spotify, Sephora orders that showed up at the door like gifts from the gods. I deleted myself from the group chat, the one where I'd send reminders about dentist appointments, silly memes, countdowns to family movie nights. I stopped pretending I was part of something. That night, I ate dinner alone in the garage. Cold leftovers on a paper plate. No one noticed. My name's Zach. I'm 42. For the past 8 years, I've lived in a house I didn't build, but I kept it from falling apart. I married Emily when I was 34. She already had a daughter, Ellie. Her father, Tom, had exited the picture years before. A phantom who drifted in on birthdays and vanished before the cake was cut. He was good at making exits. Never stayed long enough to get blamed for anything. I stepped into the wreckage willingly. I didn't come in blind. I knew what I was signing up for. A kid who wasn't mine, a man-child ex-husband in the background, and a woman still nursing the wounds of abandonment. But I told myself I was strong enough to carry the weight. When Ellie was 9, she called me Zach. When she was 10, she tried Zachy. Like I was a friend, not a guardian. By 11, I was Dad. Mostly when we were out in public or when she wanted something. Dad, can I get this sweater? Dad, can I go to Lexi's house? The first time she said it, I felt something in me give way. A dam breaking. I told myself that maybe blood didn't matter. Maybe presence did. I wasn't there for her first steps or her first words, but I was there when she fractured her wrist falling off the monkey bars. I was the one who carried her to the ER, filled out the insurance forms, held her hand while they reset the bone. Emily was out of town that weekend at a conference. Tom never answered the phone. I paid the copay. I paid for a lot of things. Groceries, braces, Wi-Fi, back-to-school clothes, volleyball gear, school trips, birthday parties. I paid for those stupid LED lights she strung up in her room, the ones that pulsed with bass-heavy music I couldn't stand. I paid for the makeup she smeared across her young face in the mornings, the glittery backpack, the phone in her hand when she mocked me. You act like you matter. I kept the lights on. I kept the house warm. I kept the car running so she could get to practice. I built the bookshelves in her room, painted the bathroom in her favorite shade of mint, drove across town for the specific brand of cereal she liked. She called me Dad when she needed something, when it cost me something, but never when it counted. I thought maybe that's what parenting was, a long series of thankless acts done in the hope that, one day, they'd see you, not as a bank, not as a burden, but as a man who chose them, a man who stayed. I thought showing up every day would eventually earn me a place, that if I loved hard enough, long enough, unconditionally enough, the walls would fall and I'd be allowed inside. But I was wrong. Tom came around once or twice a year, flashy, loud. He brought fireworks and pizza, took selfies with Ellie at arcades, bought her clothes from stores I couldn't afford. Then he'd vanish. No calls, no child support, no accountability, just a shadow with a charming smile. Still, she waited for him. Every Father's Day, I wondered if I'd get a card. Sometimes I did. Usually late. usually with Emily's handwriting filling in the parts Ellie didn't bother with. One year she gave me a mug. Said, "World's okayest dad." She thought it was funny. I laughed at the time. I don't laugh now. Emily, my wife, wasn't cruel. But she wasn't brave either. When Ellie pushed, she caved. When Ellie rolled her eyes, Emily looked away. She didn't correct. She didn't defend. I was the buffer, the emotional shock absorber, the one who took the hits so the house could stay quiet. It's funny, people always talk about stepfathers like we're temporary, like we're seat fillers, backups, and maybe we are. Maybe that's all I ever was. A placeholder until her real dad decided to show up. I tried. God, I tried. I'd show up to Ellie's volleyball games after working 10 hours, stand in the bleachers with a handmade sign that said, "Go number 7. She never looked my way. Not once. After the game, she'd run past me to Emily, squealing, "Did you see my serve?" I'd be the one driving us home in silence, her sweaty bag in my trunk. She'd post the pictures later. Emily in the stands. Tom in the comments. "Proud of you, kiddo." 10 likes. No mention of me. The first time she told someone I wasn't her real dad, it was at a birthday party. I was holding her cake while she blew out the candles. Another parent said, "You've got such a great dad." She wrinkled her nose and said, "He's not my real dad. Just my step. Just my step." The words slid off her tongue like they'd been rehearsed. I remember standing there, holding a pink cake with candles still smoking, feeling the frosting tremble under my grip. She didn't even look at me, just turned back to her friends, laughing. Emily shrugged. She didn't mean it, but she did. They always mean it. They just don't expect you to react. That's the trick of it, the whole game. You're supposed to keep giving, keep smiling, keep absorbing the slights, the silences, the sideways glances. Because the moment you stop, the moment you flinch, they call you bitter, cruel, petty. That night, after the "you act like you matter" line, I didn't speak a word to anyone. I went into the garage, turned off the water heater pilot light, then turned it back on again. I didn't need to. I just needed to do something with my hands. The silence in that house wasn't peaceful. It was weighted, pressurized. Emily didn't ask what was wrong. Ellie stayed in her room, music vibrating the floorboards. The next morning, I made coffee for myself only. No rides to school. No reminders about homework. No waking up early to warm up her car. No more acting like I mattered. Because maybe I never did. Tom. That name used to be harmless. A syllable. An echo. Then it became a presence. Problem. A mirror held to my face. Not to reflect who I was, but to remind me who I wasn't. He reappeared in Ellie's life like a summer storm. Sudden, loud, and worshipped for the chaos he brought. He rolled up in a lifted truck with LED underglow and a decal across the windshield that said, #OneDad. The irony wasn't lost on me. He hadn't been around for orthodontist bills, science fair breakdowns, strep throat at 2 a.m. He didn't sit through parent-teacher conferences or cut crusts off sandwiches or help Ellie study for algebra tests until her frustration turned into tears and then, slowly, into understanding. He wasn't there when she crashed her bike, when she lost her first pet, when she begged for a costume the day before Halloween and I stayed up until 3 a.m. gluing sequins onto a thrift store dress. But now he was back, with tickets to Coachella, with sushi orders that cost more than our weekly groceries, with amusement park wristbands and new AirPods and a girlfriend who let Ellie wear her makeup and called her babe. Tom didn't come to the hard things. He came to the fun. And Ellie adored him for it. She started using his name more. Tom says this, Tom thinks that, Tom lets me. Her voice would go soft when she said it, like he was a secret song only she could hear. I tried to be happy for her. I told myself every kid deserves to love their parent, even if that parent only clocks in for the highlights. But it wasn't love that hurt me. It was the subtraction. She started leaving me out of stories. I'd ask how her weekend was and she'd say, "We did something amazing," without looking up from her phone. We. Never he. Never my dad. Just we. A closed circle. An inside joke I was never part of. Emily, of course, didn't see the problem. She's just excited. Let her be. That was her refrain. Let her be. Like I hadn't been letting her be for 8 years. Letting her take up space in my life, in my wallet, in the parts of me that got quieter every year I wasn't acknowledged. Let her be. And let me disappear. Then came the conversation. They called it a family talk. Emily said it casually over breakfast. We want to sit down tonight, just talk things through. Ellie's been feeling some tension. I nodded. Tension? She shrugged. Just little things. She feels like maybe she can't talk freely. Like you're upset about Tom being around. I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because it was tragic. That night, the three of us sat in the living room. Emily perched on the edge of the couch like a moderator. Ellie across from me, legs crossed, chin tilted up like a prosecutor with a closing argument. Her nails were painted black. Her hoodie was Tom's. I recognized it from his old Facebook profile photo. The one with him holding a fish, shirtless, drunk. Ellie didn't waste time. I think you need to apologize to Tom, she said, for acting like you were my father. Just like that. She said it clean, like she'd practiced it. Like it wasn't a bomb she was dropping, just a sentence. A truth she thought I was finally ready to hear. I looked at Emily. Nothing. No gasp. No, Ellie, that's not fair. No pushback. No parental instinct. She looked down at her lap. Silence. The kind of silence that makes you feel like you've been erased in real time. I let it sit there. The air, thick and wet. Ellie fidgeted. She expected a fight. She wanted a scene. She wanted me to beg, to defend, to demand my spot at the table. I gave her none of it. Just 2 words. All right. That was it. She blinked. Emily looked up, confused. Wait. That's it. I nodded. That's it. They thought I folded. That I'd accepted my place. That I was going to fall in line. Let Tom take the spotlight while I stayed backstage, feeding lines, holding props. But that wasn't surrender. That was the moment I decided to leave the stage entirely. Not with drama. Not with slammed doors or yelling. Just a quiet removal. A step backward so they could see what the house looked like without the scaffolding. The next day, I got up at my usual time. Made coffee. Toasted a bagel. Ate in silence. No one joined me. Emily slept in. Ellie was at Tom's. I sat there at the kitchen island I had installed with my own hands. The one with the butcher block top that still had a scratch from when Ellie spilled lemonade and tried to clean it up with steel wool. I never fixed it. I told myself it was a memory. Now it just looked like damage. I opened my laptop. Went through the accounts. Summer camp. Cancelled. Gym membership. Frozen. Acting class. Withdrawn. The Netflix password. Changed. Spotify premium. Downgraded. I removed myself from Ellie's school forms. No longer her emergency contact. Called the insurance company and revised the dependents list. Called the pediatrician's office and asked them to switch primary billing to Emily. Each step was surgical. Clean. No anger. Just math. Just subtraction. Then I packed a few boxes. Not of my things, of hers. Everything I had ever bought for Ellie. The laptop. The clothes. The books. The yoga mat she never used. The art set from 2 birthdays ago. The phone charger I kept in the car just for her. I put them in the trunk. And I drove them to Tom's apartment. He answered the door wearing sweatpants and holding a vape. His hair was longer. He looked like someone who had aged in reverse, like life had refused to teach him anything. "Zach?" he said, blinking like I was a ghost. I didn't explain, just started unloading the boxes. Set them down by his feet. He watched me like I was performing a magic trick. "What is this?" I met his eyes. "She's your daughter, right? Now she's your responsibility." He didn't know what to say. Of course he didn't. Men like him never do. They think presence is optional. That someone else will always clean up their footprints. I left without waiting for a reaction. On the drive home, I didn't turn on the radio. I let the silence stretch. Let it settle into my bones. It wasn't painful anymore. It was clean. Cold but clean. The fallout started within days. Ellie quit volleyball, no money for gear, no rides to games. Emily couldn't keep up with rent. She moved into a friend's guest room. Tom tried to fill in the gaps, but he lost his second job and had to sell the truck. The AirPods stopped working. The sushi dates stopped happening. The Instagram posts dried up. Then came the letters. First from Ellie. Written in the curvy handwriting I remembered from thank you notes she never wanted to write. She said she missed the board game nights. Said she felt safe when I was around. That the house was quieter now. Colder. She didn't say sorry. Then Emily called. We made a mistake, she said. Her voice was softer than I remembered. Like she'd been crying or whispering in someone else's house. I let her finish. Then I said the only thing that mattered. You were silent when I needed you loud. Now this silence is mine. Then I hung up. And for the first time in 8 years, I felt like my voice mattered. That's the part they never talk about. Not on the parenting blogs, not in therapy sessions, not in all the hollow advice people give when they say, just keep showing up. What they don't tell you is that there's a breaking point. And when a man like me reaches it, it's not with yelling. It's not with fists through drywall or tires screeching down the driveway. It's with silence. Final. Clean. Surgical. I didn't announce it. I didn't write some dramatic letter or give an ultimatum over dinner. I just began removing myself, step by step, dollar by dollar, roll by roll. And with every string I cut, the illusion they had built, the one where I was the quiet provider, the walking wallet, the man-shaped safety net, began to collapse. That Monday, I got an email from the school. Some automated message asking me to confirm my volunteer shift at the fundraiser car wash. I clicked the link. Cancelled. Took my name off the PDA mailing list. Unsubscribed from the school updates I used to forward to Emily with reminders and calendar invites. They could wash their own damn cars. I stopped setting alarms for her early games. No more scrambled eggs in a paper bowl as we rushed out the door. No more thermos of hot coffee handed to Emily in the passenger seat while she scrolled through texts from clients or friends or, who knows, maybe even Tom. I went to work that morning in silence. I came home in silence. No more detours to Target for that brand of shampoo Ellie liked. No more swinging by her favorite smoothie place to surprise her after practice. I stopped pretending that these rituals were appreciated. They weren't. I removed myself from the bank account linked to Ellie's Venmo. Let it decline. Let the push notifications pile up unanswered. The first time she asked about it, she didn't even look up from her phone. Hey, can you send me 20 for sushi? I didn't answer, just kept stirring the pasta in the pot. She didn't notice. Not right away. That was the real problem. They'd stopped seeing me. I had become a utility, invisible until something broke. So I broke. That week, I sat down and mapped out everything I had ever paid for. Not just the obvious stuff, the car repairs, the vacations, the school trips, but the little things, the subscriptions, the gas money, the extra data on her phone plan, the late-night Amazon orders for poster board and printer ink and last-minute costumes for school plays. I made a spreadsheet, color-coded, labeled, dated. It came out to over $142,000. Over 8 years. All of it paid from my account. None of it reimbursed. None of it reciprocated. Just swallowed by a house that fed on my effort and spat back indifference. That number stuck with me. $142,000. And not a single framed photo of me in the living room. So I pulled back further. I took the key off Ellie's car ring. The spare I kept just in case she locked herself out. I removed myself from the app that tracked her phone location. Turned off the Find My iPhone alerts. I didn't need to know where she was. I didn't need to pretend I was part of her orbit. She didn't notice right away. She was used to the ground staying solid beneath her feet. She thought that's what ground does. She never asked who built it. But the cracks showed up quickly. 3 days after I removed myself from her health insurance, I got a voicemail from a pharmacy. Hi, just letting you know that Ellie's prescription wasn't able to process. The card on file was declined. Please call us back to confirm alternate payment. I didn't. Tom could call them. He knew how to use a phone when he needed to. The next week, I got a call from the volleyball coach. Hey, Zach, Ellie missed practice. Her gear's gone and I just wanted to check in. Everything okay? I paused. Then said calmly, I'm not her father. I suggest you call Tom. The coach was quiet for a beat. Then he said, I thought, and stopped himself. They always do. Everyone thinks. No one checks. Everyone assumes the man who shows up is the one who belongs. But showing up doesn't grant you permanence. It just makes you easier to erase when they change the story. Ellie came home that night furious. She slammed the door, stormed into the kitchen. What the hell, Zach? Why'd you cancel my gym membership? I looked up from my laptop, didn't raise my voice. Because I'm not your father. Remember? She scoffed. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. That's what she called 8 years of sacrifice being pulled away in slow, deliberate silence. Emily walked in then, looking exhausted. Hair pulled up, makeup half-worn. She gave me that look, the one that used to mean please, not now. But I didn't respond to it. Not anymore. Zach, she started. We need to talk. I closed the laptop. Waited. She sat across from me. Ellie hovered, arms folded. We're all under stress, Emily said. But this isn't helping. You cutting off everything. It's hurting her. You're still part of this family. I let the silence stretch until it cracked. No, I said. I was part of this family, until you let her put a price on it. Ellie rolled her eyes. This is because of that one comment? God, grow up. One comment, I said slowly. You told me to apologize to Tom for pretending to be your father. You said I act like I matter. Emily flinched. Ellie looked away. I stood calm, controlled. For 8 years I showed up. Every day, every dollar, every damn load of laundry, every scraped knee, every school form signed. I did that. Not him. No one interrupted. And when it came time to defend me, to correct her, to say, this man matters, you said nothing. Emily tried. Zach. No, I cut in. You let her take a knife to me in my own home. And now you want the man you gutted to keep smiling and paying the bills? I won't. Not anymore. Ellie left the room, muttering something under her breath. Emily stayed seated, hands clenched in her lap. She didn't apologize. She didn't say she was wrong. She just said, you're making things harder than they need to be. I nodded. Yes, I am, because they've been too easy for too long. After that, the messages started. From Ellie, I'm sorry if I was mean. Can I still go to summer camp? From Emily, she didn't mean it. She's just a teenager. Can't we go back to how it was? From Tom, you're acting petty. Grow up. That one made me laugh. Petty. That's what they call boundaries when they stop benefiting from your silence. Petty is what they say when the ATM talks back. I didn't respond to any of them. I made dinner. Alone. I watched movies. Alone. I slept in the guest room, door locked. Ellie started texting me more often. Not apologies, not really. Just questions disguised as outreach. Do you know where the router password is? Did you cancel Netflix? Can you still drive me to the DMV? Each message was a rope thrown over a widening gap. But I didn't catch them. Because ropes become leashes if you're not careful. One night, Emily knocked on the guest room door. I miss us, she said. I didn't answer. Because what she missed wasn't me. It was what I provided. The ease, the protection. The version of me who didn't ask to be valued. And that version was gone. Not dead. Not angry. Just done. Completely, utterly, and finally done. I didn't slam the door. I didn't pack a suitcase in front of them or announce some grand exit like in the movies. There was no spectacle. Just subtraction. Just space. Just the absence of what they'd never learned to appreciate. I didn't leave the house. Not physically. Not yet. I left in a way that hurt more. I left emotionally. I withdrew the parts of myself that had quietly stitched this family together. The calendar reminders, the packed lunches, the errands run without being asked. The constant awareness. The quiet anticipation of what they'd need before they even knew they needed it. It's easy to dismiss a man when he's always there. It's much harder when he disappears and the foundation starts to crack. They didn't notice at first. Not fully. Ellie still moved through the house like gravity didn't apply to her. The morning after I canceled her car insurance, she backed out of the driveway without looking, only to get pulled over for an expired registration and no proof of coverage. She called Emily in tears. Emily called me. I let it ring. Tom was supposed to step up, wasn't he? He was the real dad. The one whose blood meant more than my time, my effort, my years. Except Tom had already vanished again, as he always did. His number changed, his social media locked, his messages unread. The first cracks appeared in Ellie's voice. Not loud, not angry, just thinner, strained, like someone who suddenly realized the net beneath her feet was gone. Emily tried to pick up the slack. She sold her engagement ring, the one I bought her, to cover Ellie's new phone after hers was stolen. She picked up weekend shifts at a boutique she once mocked. She started bringing home store-brand groceries instead of the organic ones Ellie used to demand. The fridge looked different. The heat clicked off earlier. The Wi-Fi slowed. I stayed, but I was gone. I still did the dishes, still mowed the lawn, still paid for my half of the house. But I didn't speak unless spoken to. I didn't ask about their day. I didn't watch shows with them, or attend school events, or answer when Ellie shouted from the top of the stairs. I had nothing left to give. I wasn't angry. That's what they didn't understand. I wasn't punishing them. I was just done playing a part in a play that had never been mine. And without the lead, the story started to unravel. Ellie came to me 2 weeks later. Not with an apology, not yet, but with need. She knocked on the door of my home office like a stranger. "Zach," she said quietly, "can you help me with my FAFSA application?" I didn't look up. "Ask Tom." She didn't reply, just stood there. I didn't fill the silence. Finally, she said, "He's not answering." I nodded. "Sounds familiar." Her breath caught. She lingered another second, then walked away. That night, Emily found me sitting in the garage again, beer in hand, engine parts on the bench just for the comfort of familiarity. "I don't know what to say to you anymore," she said softly. I didn't answer. She walked closer. "I miss who we were." I took a sip. Who we were didn't include me. It included what I gave, what I paid, what I endured. She sat down beside me, her hands trembling. "I didn't know it had gotten this bad." "No," I said. "You just didn't care to see it." She didn't deny it. For a while, we sat in silence, the way only people who've truly failed each other can. Eventually, she asked, "Do you still love me?" I looked at her then, really looked, and I realized something devastating. "I don't know," I said, "because love without respect becomes rot." And ours had festered so long in silence. It was hard to tell what was left that wasn't spoiled. The next morning, Ellie tried again. "Zach, please," she said, eyes rimmed red, FAFSA in hand. "I need your help. I don't know how to do this." I stared at her. She was smaller than I remembered. Not in size, in spirit, in posture. The arrogance had drained from her face. The defiance, too. She looked like a girl who finally realized the pedestal she stood on was made of my spine. I took the paper from her. "I'll walk you through it," I said. She looked up, surprised. "But after this," I added, "you do the rest. You carry it." She nodded. Not quickly. Not with a smile. Just a slow, resigned nod. Like someone accepting the weight they'd spent years pretending didn't exist. I helped her. We sat together for 2 hours, filling out the forms, gathering paperwork, looking up codes. I didn't crack jokes. I didn't ask how school was. I didn't pretend we were fine. When it was done, she whispered, "Thank you." I nodded. That's what fathers do. And I was one. For a long time. She flinched at was. She should have. Weeks passed. Emily tried in her way to patch the holes. But she was working more. Always tired. Always stretched. She started forgetting things, birthdays, appointments where she left her keys. I didn't remind her, because that was never the point. The point was never the money, never the tasks. It was that no one stood up for me when it mattered. And now I stood alone. One night I was making myself dinner, just one plate, when Ellie walked into the kitchen. "Zach," she said quietly, "I wrote you something." I looked up. She handed me a folded letter, her handwriting on the outside, for Zach. Not Dad. I took it, sat down, opened it. It was a single page. She didn't beg. She didn't justify. She just told the truth. "I thought being your daughter was automatic. I didn't realize it was something you chose every day, and that it could be unchosen." She ended with, "I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I see it now. All of it." I folded the letter, set it down, said nothing. She left. The next morning I packed a bag. Not out of anger, out of clarity. I left the house at sunrise, booked a short-term rental across town. A place with no photos on the walls, no memories in the floorboards, just peace. Emily called by noon. "I came home," she said. "And you were gone." "I was gone long before I walked out the door," I said. She didn't argue. She cried. I listened, then hung up. Weeks passed, then months. I rebuilt my life slowly, carefully, quietly. I met someone, Jessica. No kids. No ex-husband orbiting like a ghost. No history I had to compete with. Just peace. She didn't ask me to be anything. She just let me be. We don't talk much about the past. She knows enough to leave it alone. She knows I carry something heavy, something broken, but earned. Sometimes at the grocery store or downtown I see Emily. Once I saw Ellie. She didn't look up, just kept walking. But I saw her, older now, tired, her mouth drawn, her shoulders hunched like the world had gotten heavier. I thought of the night she laughed. "You act like you matter in this family." That sentence, that weapon, it echoed for years. And yet now I say this with certainty. I did matter. More than they ever saw. More than they ever said. More than they'll ever forget. And they figured it out too late. So now I ask you, whoever's still listening, was I wrong to leave them in the ruins they built? Was I cruel for giving them what they claimed to want? A life without me? Would you have endured it longer? Or would you have walked too? Tell me, when they laughed in your face and asked, "You act like you matter?"